Hello and welcome once again, all friends of yoga and meditation. Today is the 23rd of August 2015. 23rd of August 2015. I just finished my yoga, so every time I do my yoga, I do quick yoga. I'm always sort of bustling with energy. Returning to our lectures and discussion forum. For those who are new, these lectures we call Buddhism as an education. Buddhism as an education. This research was first conducted by Grandmaster Ching Kong. Grandmaster Ching Kong is one of the leading Chinese Buddhist monks, Buddhist authorities worldwide. He's very famous, extraordinarily famous. He is one of the greatest Buddhist authorities of our time. He's knighted by the Queen of England. He's one of the highest authorities in Australia. He's received a lot of honors, a lot of honorary doctorates, just like the Dalai Lama. I'm sure you've heard about the Dalai Lama. If you've heard about the Dalai Lama, these are like the leading Buddhists. Who are the leading Buddhist authorities? I can literally count them for you. Who are the leading Buddhist authorities of the world today? The leading Buddhist authorities of the world today are Grandmaster Sengyun. Grandmaster Sengyun brought Buddhism to Africa. Grandmaster Sengyun, he has universities here in the United States, University of the West in California. He has several universities, Buddhist universities. He built about 7 universities. He built one here in the United States that I know of. He has one in South Africa, a Buddhist institution in South Africa, currently in Johannesburg. Broncos Point, Johannesburg, is the first Buddhist. He brought Buddhism to Africa, in short. First Buddhist foundation in Africa. They give degrees to young Africans who come to learn Buddhism. This foundation was established by Grandmaster Sengyun in South Africa. It's a giant, mighty, huge. They bought hectares of land, fantastic, huge land. I can't just describe it. If you go on the internet and find out Nanhua Foundation in South Africa, you'll see them. So that's one of the great Buddhist authorities, Master Sengyun. Then you have Grandmaster Ching Kong, who started this work that I'm doing. It's another very mighty authority. We can't really describe their work. He did a lot of work into Amitabha, a lot of musical Buddhism, a lot of Chinese, what do you call them now? Chinese, there's a special word for it, handwriting scripts. He did a lot, fantastic. Just go to their website, you see the kind of great work they've done. Master Ching Kong did all that. A lot of musical things he did. Amitabha, just go to Amitabha Buddha's website, Pure Land Buddhism. He lives in Australia. He did really great work in Buddhism. Then you go to Dalai Lama, of course. Everybody knows about the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama has a Nobel Prize. He was in Tibet, very peaceful. He's one of the most peaceful Buddhists of our time. He received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. And that Nobel Peace Prize really suits the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is so peaceful. He was driven from his home by Mao Zedong's forces when they came with communist revolution in China. He had to go to India and settle in India. Very peaceful. He did not fight back with Mao Zedong. He did not fight with the Chinese forces. Because there are some, I can assure you that it's not because Tibet is a small country. I can assure you that I know of some tiny countries whose leaders would have responded with violence. So Dalai Lama is a very, 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 he is the most peaceful man I know on earth. I don't know of anybody more peaceful than the Dalai Lama. So that's another very great Buddhist authority, I tell you. And then the lady I respect, Master Cheng Yen, the lady I will always respect, Master Cheng Yen. She started the Zuchi Foundation, compassionate woman. They call her the Mother Teresa of Asia. Everywhere, the Japanese earthquake, she was there. Hurricanes in the United States, she's always here. all over the world, any place where there is disaster, this woman is always there, like the saint, great saint she is, helping. She started what is called the Zuchi Foundation. They are also in Africa. It's not yet in Nigeria. I've been trying to see if we can get one in Nigeria. But they are in South Africa. They are in Zimbabwe, all these countries, many countries in the Southern Africa. They are there, Zuchi, where there are a lot of Chinese populations. So Master Cheng Yang started this great Zuchi Foundation. They do a lot of great work, helping people in disaster-stricken areas of the earth. So that's another. She's a lady and a Buddha, of course. That's Master Cheng Yang. So those are the names to look for. These are the leading Buddhist authorities of our time. Maybe that's another lecture for some time else. Grandmaster Singyun, Grandmaster Ching Kong, Dalai Lama, and Master Cheng Yang, Grandmaster Cheng Yang. She's a lady, but they are called masters also in Buddhism. Cheng Yang is her name, and she's the female greatest of our time. These are the leading authorities of Buddhism in our time. They are all still alive, but some of them are pretty old now. So, if we may, let me quickly run through these work. Our lecture here says, you know how to contact me. For those who are really new, who are new in this business, my email addresses will be c.aburime@hotmail.com, c.aburime@hotmail.com, or colorcollege@hotmail.com. You can also go to my previous videos, and run through them. It will tell you how to contact me. So I want to really run through these lectures quickly because of time. Teachers often took their students on field trips to broaden their knowledge and experience. As they traveled, knowledge was imparted to them along the way. Thus, the trips were without textbooks or restraints, but accompanied with wine and food and filled with joy. The students would attend to the needs of the teacher. Therefore, as they concluded their travels to the many beautiful places, the course would close as well. For many, attending Thai school was the most joyful time of their lives. This is where we stopped yesterday. So we are continuing, chapter 5. In Taiwan, those who are in their 80s or 90s may have experienced this kind of education. My late teacher, Mr. Lee, Master Ching Kong says, then in his 90s could simply apply materials he had memorized in elementary school when writing articles. No reference materials were needed. This was the method he used to acquire the original wisdom that comes from the pure mind. With the pure mind, true wisdom arises. Having true wisdom is to know a person's past and future, and also to understand the laws of cause and effect. One should not judge things by their appearance, but know and understand how events came about. The wisdom of knowing nothing, emphasized in Buddhism, is the original wisdom. Only when one has a pure mind, which contains nothing, will he also know everything when he is in contact with the external world. Therefore, the practicing and studying of Buddhism begins with eliminating all thoughts in order to obtain a pure mind. We call those thoughts wandering thoughts or imaginary thoughts. All this made me think of our children, who are so pure, so innocent, and uncontaminated in their thinking, which is why it is best for our children to start learning Buddhism early in childhood. With little effort, children can truly and easily benefit from it. The experiences of a person with a pure mind are so different and profound that no ordinary person can truly appreciate them. That's the lecture. So at this point, folks, for those who are new, who are really wondering what's going on, well, there's a great discovery made by the Grandmaster Ching Kong. Master Ching Kong had to go into Chinese, really delve deeply into Chinese to really find out who precisely the Buddha was and what he did. He really took a lot of interest, not like a lot of folks who just read letters, get degrees and get doctorates and proceed. Master Ching Kong really took the pains to really try to go back to the days of the Buddha and to find out who exactly was the Buddha. And then we discovered that, the Buddha was not a god. People didn't worship him. It's not a god worship. The Buddha is just like me talking to you right now. The Buddha is just like Grandmaster Ching Kong. The Buddha is just a teacher, he's a professor. And the title Buddha means Ph.D. as we understand it now. And then they were a school, they were an organization. Bodhisattva would be like master's degree. Arhat would be like first degree. Buddha certainly is a doctorate. This was how the school was ordered nearly 3,000 years ago, about 2,600 years ago, when the Buddha was physically here. So this is our research. Our research is to try to go back to the original Buddha, see what the original Buddha was doing, and try to do precisely that in our time. So that's why these lecture series are referred to as Buddhism as an education. Of course, these websites that these videos I'm doing, websites are attached to them. Buddhism as an education being the title of the publication of Grandmaster Ching Kong. You should read through them, walk through them, try to understand them. If you have comments, questions, drop me an email and I'll try to respond to your email as soon as possible. For those who are new, just trying to explain it to you. That Buddhism, whenever you think about Buddhism from now on, think about Buddhism as a university, an institution of higher learning, a discipline, system of disciplines of higher learning, with doctorates, master's degree, first degree, and so on, professional degrees. That's what Buddhism was. It was a huge system. Chinese government even embraced it from India into China. Master Ching Kong discovered. So this is how I want you to reason about Buddhism. Buddhism is not a world religion. These are the things for newcomers to really understand. Don't classify Buddhism with Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism. Those are world religions. Buddhism is not a world religion. Buddhism is just like Microsoft, it's like computer programming. I'm a programmer. I program in C, I program in C++, I program in Java. So Buddhism is just like C, C++, and Java. It's a system of disciplines aimed at extirpating suffering. The Buddha just had one single target, one single objective. The objective of the Buddha was to release you and me from suffering, to see if we can live a life without suffering. Can you live a life without suffering, without pain? Can I? That was the goal of the Buddha. It's such a giant research when you think about it. How can human beings live without suffering? I'll leave you with that question. Have a pleasant day. Namo Amitofo.